Hello and welcome back for a webinar on general myology. My dear students, we have started general myology since yesterday, and yesterday we have finished the introductory part of general myology, during which we studied what is myology, what is meant by the word muscle, the definition of muscle, various types of muscles. And today we will proceed with the further study of general myology. So I welcome you back for episode 2 of general myology. Well, yesterday while studying myology, we talked about three major types of muscles, and those are skeletal muscles, smooth muscles, and cardiac muscles. Cardiac muscle is only one. And also I told you about the fourth type of muscle, and that is myoepithelial cells, which are present in the acini of the secretory glands. And while looking at this GIF, you must have understood that actual muscles are those muscles which help your body to move, and that means those are the skeletal muscles. So today we will study the skeletal muscles in more details, because those are actual muscles as far as the movement of body is concerned. So let us have a review of three major types of muscles which we discussed yesterday, and those are skeletal muscles, which are having striations, so they are also called as striated muscles, and they are elongated cells. The myocyte is elongated, and it is multinucleated. You can see many nuclei on one myocyte, and these muscles are voluntary. Now I am moving my hands because I want to move those. That means it is as per my will. So it's called as voluntary, because hands move with the help of skeletal muscles. And second muscle is a cardiac muscle, which is present only in the heart, myocardium. It is striated muscle, just like skeletal muscle. You can see the striations here, but it is having branched pattern. The cell is branched. You can see this cell has a branch which anastomosis with another cell, and there is anastomosis, and plus it is having 1 to 3 nuclei, just like skeletal muscle, but it is involuntary. Now your heart is beating, it is beating involuntarily. It is not in your hand to stop it or to make it faster or slower whatsoever. So it keeps on beating as per the internal environment. And the last one is a smooth muscle. Smooth muscle is non-striated as compared to other two, and there is only one cell which is placed centrally in one myocyte, and these are spindle in shape, and they are also involuntarily, just like cardiac muscle, and they are present in the viscera. Viscera means different organs wherever muscle is required. For example, GIT is a viscera, stomach, intestine, large and small intestine, so on, and they are involuntarily functioning. Plus your blood vessels, arteries, which have got muscles in it, and they also function involuntarily. So this is all introductory part we studied yesterday, and out of four muscles, three are very important. I told you they are major. So 3 to 4 kinds of muscles are there, but skeletal muscles are most abundant in the body. Most abundant means there are too many. That means I told you that there are almost 640 muscles in your body, in pairs of 320 on each side of the body, each half of the body. Okay, these are the only muscles which are dissected out in the dissection hall. So when you start dissection, you have already started dissection. So if you see upper limb dissection, you only see skeletal muscle. You will not see smooth muscles. Smooth muscles are not dissected as such. And these muscles are studied individually also. Like you study deltoid, you study pectoralis major, you study biceps brachii, and so on. But you will not study the muscles of arteries, muscles of stomach. You will not do that. That is only part studied in the histology. So we have to understand the details of these, skeletal muscles. So let us first begin with the study of skeletal muscles in bit, details. Yesterday also I told you that it has got various synonyms. That means it can be called as a striped muscles, can be called as striated muscles, it can be called as somatic muscles or voluntary muscles. And I told you why they are called so. Now you understand, because striped and striated one and the same. Somatic means they are muscles of the body which function voluntarily, and auto voluntarily is opposite of involuntarily, because they are what you call muscles which function automatically. But here this functions voluntarily. So we will study these somatic details, study the skeletal muscles bit in detail today, one by one. Well, if you look at this image, you will see one skeletal muscle cell. This is a skeletal muscle cell. It is elongated, cylindrical. It has got numerous uh, peripherally placed nuclei. They are all at the periphery of the muscle cell. The muscle cell will have the myofibrils, and then it will have myofilaments and actin, myosin, and so on. Those structures we are going to study today. For the sake of comparison, I am showing you one smooth muscle cell here. It is a spindle shape and it has got a centrally placed single nucleus inside it. And cardiac muscle is in a branching pattern and anastomosis with the other myocyte in the cardiac muscle itself. And they are also having nucleus, 2 to 3 nucleus in each myocyte, and they are having branching pattern. So let us also take in consideration the fourth type of muscle, and that is myoepithelial cells. So one myoepithelial cell I am showing you, see, it has also got a branching pattern here, but no anastomosis with the other adjoining cell. And they have also got one single nucleus in the center. Now let us go back to the muscles of the skeleton, that is skeletal muscle, study of skeletal muscle. Here in an image you can see a human being who is showing the muscles of his body, and that is actual musculature of a human body. And now is the time to study various parts of a muscle. So you take any muscle into consideration from your body, be it biceps brachii or quadriceps femoris or sartorius or pectoralis major, whatsoever muscle you want, you can take into consideration. And this muscle will have all these parts in it. So this is a general, myology which can be applied to any particular in a single muscle in a body. So each skeletal muscle has two ends, and those two ends are origin end and insertion end. That means muscle originates from one end and gets inserted on the other end. So these two ends are always there in a skeletal muscle. So origin of each muscle differs from one another. And that is why we have to do particular study of a muscle during the time of study of regional anatomy of your human body. So let us begin with the word meaning of what is insertion, what is origin, and so on. Origin is one end of a muscle which remains fixed during its contraction. So when the muscle gets contracted, origin end is always fixed, whereas insertion is the other end which moves during its contraction. So if you put your biceps muscle into contraction, the origin is fixed here, whereas the insertion end you can put on your, catch the tendon, you will feel that it is movable. In the limb muscles, the origin is usually proximal to the insertion. That means when you talk about biceps, origin is above and insertion is below. When you talk about brachioradialis, origin is above, insertion is below. Likewise, always origin is on the upper side as far as the limbs are concerned. Okay. The terms origin and insertion are at times interchangeable also. Sometimes in some muscles they are interchangeable. For example, climbing action of the latissimus dorsi muscle. Latissimus dorsi muscle is present on the back of your body, which originates from the lower girdle, that means pelvic girdle, and gets inserted on the upper girdle, means upper girdle is called as pectoral girdle. So this muscle will show you this, exception. And at other times difficult to define as in case of intercostal muscles. So intercostal muscles, you cannot explain which is origin and which is insertion. So these are the exceptions as far as the origin and insertions are concerned. Now we will also try to understand the two parts of skeletal muscle. Now we saw two ends, origin insertion. Now we will see two parts of this muscle. One part is a fleshy part which is contractile and it is called as a belly. Now if you take biceps into consideration, what you see here is a belly. So this means fleshy part. Now it has got a fibrous part which is non-contractile and is inelastic. When it looks like cord or it looks like a rope and it is called as a tendon. You can very easily catch the tendon of biceps at the lower end also and at the upper end. Biceps have got three tendons because two origins, so two heads will have two tendons and insertion one tendon. And when the tendon gets flattened, it is called as aponeurosis. So biceps brachii also has got aponeurosis. Every muscle may not have all these things, but usually these are the state of a muscle when you call skeletal, when you call it as a skeletal muscle. So it can have, they can be take tendons of origin, tendons of insertion, more than one tendon of origin, okay, and plus flattened tendon is called as aponeurosis. This all you will have in different muscles. So here you can see the construction of biceps brachii muscle. I was talking about this muscle itself while explaining you the ends and parts of muscle. If you see this end, upper end is upper of origin and lower end is of insertion. And if you consider into upper end is of two origins, long head and short head. This is short head of biceps and this is long head of biceps. Both are tendons. Origin is tendons. They unite to form a belly. So one fleshy part. Plus again they divide into two parts for insertion. One is another tendon, bicipital tendons is for insertion on radial tuberosity. And another is flattened tendon aponeurosis, which get inserted on the investing fascia of the skin of the forearm. So that means you got tendons, you got aponeurosis, you got belly, you got two ends. So this is all you study biceps brachii properly and you apply this knowledge with the other muscle with this and that little exception with each muscle. Every muscle is just every muscle is not alike. So you have to see differences, what differences they have from the other. Well, now we'll go to a little deeper part of today's study, and that is muscle cross section. If you see, muscle has got a epimysium, then there is a inside it you can see muscle fiber which has got a perimysium, and inside it you can see the myofibrils which got an endomysium. Same muscle fiber is brought outside here to show you the sarcolemma layer, nuclei layer, and myofibrils or sarcostyles inside here, and this sarcoplasm. These words are related to the histology of a muscle. You should know this these parts as well. Myofibril has got I band, A band, and its head disc. You can see the part of sarcomere is shown here, and myofilaments parts are shown here. For example, actin and myosin is located in the myofilaments, which are the actual contractile elements which are present in a muscle. The structure of the skeletal muscle, if you consider, it has got organization of muscle by connective tissue. The muscle is not alone tissue which forms organized skeletal muscle. A muscle will also have connective tissue inside it. And transverse section of a muscle fiber will show you the structure of a myofibril. The central line in A band represents the H band. Arrangement of the myofilaments in the myofibril, which I showed in that diagram, and that is histology of skeletal muscle. So in human being, most of the skeletal muscles show a mixture of fiber types, but any one type may predominate. Predominate means they may be more. Now we will try to understand the fascicular architecture of the muscles, how the fasciculi are arranged in a what you call skeletal muscle. Here there is a skeletal muscle, and here you can see its contents which are magnified to tell you up to the myofibril level and the filaments. This is histology. The arrangement of muscle fibers varies according to the direction, force, and range of habitual movement at a particular joint. So that means it varies from muscle to muscle depending upon its activities. The force of movement directly proportional to the number and size of muscle fibers, and the range of movement is proportional to the length of muscle fibers. Range of movement is proportional. So if the muscles are long, that will give you the range, more range of movement. And the force to the number, if the muscle is thick, that means number and size of muscle is thick, it will give you a force. So for force and for a range, there are different, what you call sizes, lengths of muscle, and that is why we have got different sizes, and in length there are different muscles. Muscle can be classified according to the arrangement of their fasciculi into the following group. Now we'll see what is fasciculi. Here is a image of fasciculi. Fasciculi, bundle of muscle fibers. The muscle is quadrilateral in shape. So if there is a muscle of this shape, we call it as quadriceps. There are so many quadriceps, or we can call them as a quadratus. So there is a pronator quadratus here. So quadrilateral in shape will give you quadriceps or quadratus. Quadriceps means 4 heads. A strap-like muscle, if you get, there are many strap-like muscles here in the, your neck region. Okay, sternohyoid, cricothyroid, sternomastoid. Plus on the thigh also you'll get sartorius muscle, which is like a strap. Strap like with tendinous intersections you will get on the abdomen anterior wall. External abdominis obliquus. That muscle will give you the tendinous intersection. You can see the tendon. And fusiform muscle you will have in terms of biceps brachii is in a shape of a fusiform. Then there are fusiform here, and digastric muscle is a fusiform. So these are the shape of the muscles depending upon the fasciculi direction. The parallel, if the fasciculi are parallel, you get this shape. If the fasciculi are oblique, you will get these shapes, triangular. The trapezius muscle is triangular on the back. Unipinnate means fasciculi on one side. Bipinnate means fasciculi on both the sides. This is related to the study of leaves of plant. In the botany, you have studied that. So bipinnate means on both the sides there are fasciculi. Multipinnate means fasciculi from many sides. Usually the deltoid muscle is a multipinnate. Okay, multipinnate. And circumpinnate muscles also will have from all the sides. Okay, from each circular. Plus there can be a twisted or spiral muscle. There can be a cruciate crossing of the fasciculi. So they call as twisted fasciculi. So these are the different fasciculi shapes. Accordingly, we will have muscles which are also named according to their shape. Now, parallel fasciculi, when the fasciculi are parallel to the line of pull, the muscle may be quadrilateral. So one example I am giving you, thyrohyoid, which is present hyoid to thyroid. Strap-like is sternohyoid and sartorius. Strap-like with tendinous intersections, rectus abdominis, which is present here on the abdomen front line. Or fusiform shape is given by biceps and digastric muscle. The range of movement in such muscle is maximum. So here the range is more as compared to force. Well, now we'll talk about oblique fasciculi. When the fasciculi are oblique to the line of pull, the muscle may be triangular or pinnate. Pinnate means feather-like. Feather, piece. Pakshacha piece. Okay, in the construction. This arrangement makes the muscle more powerful, although the range of movement is reduced. Oblique arrangements are of the following types. Triangular fasciculi, we got a temporalis muscle here, which is triangular. Adductor magnus, which is on the medial side of the thigh. Unipinnate means flexor pollicis longus muscle, which we have here. It is unipinnate. Extensor digitorum is also unipinnate. Peroneus longus, which is present on the leg, is also unipinnate. When you study the regional anatomy of body, you will come to those muscles. At that time, you have to remember this general anatomy and apply this knowledge to that. Then only you will understand the musculature in full sense. Bipinnate muscles from both the sides there are pinnate. Rectus femoris, which is present on the thigh, and dorsal interossei, which are present on the hand. Peroneus longus, which is present on the leg. Flexor hallucis longus also, which is present on the flexor compartment of leg. And multipinnate example, best example is deltoid. Other is subscapularis, below the scapulae. And circumpinnate example is tibialis anterior, which is present in the anterior compartment of the leg. So almost whole body has different, uh, muscles with different fasciculi. Here I am showing you one diagram of adductor longus. This muscle is adductor longus, just below the pectineus. Now adductor longus is looking like a triangle. Now this is a triangular adductor longus. So we go to this point. I'll take you back. Triangular fasciculi, adductor longus. So you will find different muscles with different shape that will help you understand. I'll take you to the another picture. This is having three examples here in front of you. If you take first one, you'll see one fusiform here. This is a fusiform because it is having a fusiform shape. Another is a unipinnate, so fibers are only on one side. This is bipinnate, fibers are on both sides. Multipinnate, fibers are in multiple places, one side with both sides. So these are the different types of muscles. What I was talking about pinnate. If you see the shoulder region from behind, you'll see a big triangular muscle, which is a trapezius, which looks like a trapezium. So again, it is a trapezius. There are many other muscles located in the scapular region of that muscle with different sizes and different shapes. Okay, here you can see the deltoid muscle from behind. It is also on the anterior side because it is a quite big muscle, like it looks, it's having a shape of delta, but the pinnate, in case of fascicular arrangement, it is having a multi-pinnate fascicular arrangement. This is a temporalis muscle which is present on the temporal region, on the side of your head or skull, what you call. This is also triangular. You can see the temporalis muscle here. Now we'll go to spiral or twisted fascicula. These are actually rare, and these are found in the trapezius muscle, pectoralis muscle, because it gets twisted from thorax, anterior wall of chest, and it goes to the arm. So it has to take a round in the fold of anterior, fold of axilla. Then it has to go to the arm, and that is why it is twisted. Latissimus dorsal, so it comes from pelvic girdle, and it comes while touching the scapula, it will go to the humerus, so it is having twisted shape. Supinated muscle, which is present on the for the purpose of supination of the forearm, is also having twisted shape or spiral shape. Okay, in certain muscle, the fascicula are crossed. These are called the cruciate muscle. If the muscle is crossed, these are called cruciate muscle. For example, sternocleidomastoid is having cruciate muscle. Masseter muscle, which is present on the cheek, okay, of your face, is also having twisted cruciate muscles. And adductor magnus is also having cruciate muscles. Many muscles exhibit regional variations in structure and are a mixture of foregoing types. Some of having mixture also. Thus, it is possible that when a part of the muscle is active, the rest is quiescent. Bone marks produced by the muscle is another part of study of general myology. Means wherever the bones get attached, they will produce marks on that bones, and those are usually elevations, even in the depressions also. So fleshy origins generally leave no marks. If the origin is in a flesh, they will have no mark as such. Although the area is often flattened and depressed, example, pectoralis major on a clavicle. And pure tendons and ligaments always leave a smooth mark, which is either elevated or depressed. For example, insertion of spinatus, psoas, obturators, and cruciate ligaments will leave a mark on the bone. Admixture of flesh and tendons or a lengthy insertion of an aponeurosis makes a rough mark. Example, gluteal tuberosity, which is gluteal tuberosity is present on the hip bone, and linea aspera, separated line-like structure on the back, on the posterior side of the femur. Those are markings produced by the muscle which are attached to those bones. Flat muscles arising from flat bones which have to play over the surface of the flat bones. For example, if first part is origin does not extend up to the edge, but is set back from the edge in a curved line. And between the edge of the bone and curved line, there is a bare area where contracting muscle slides. And the bare area is invariably occupied by a bursa. For this, the examples are subscapularis and iliacus. Subscapularis below the scapula, and iliacus muscle is on the anterior surface of iliac bone of hip bone, iliac part of hip bone. And the exception is also temporalis. Now, actual study of skeletal muscle, I took some points to make you understand the general myology of different skeletal muscles which are present in the body. I took into consideration many muscles right from head, face, neck to your upper limb to your chest wall to your lower limb to abdomen. Everything one to muscles we have considered to explain you the study of general myology of uh, the whole body as such. Now you see some, I'll show you some figures uh, to make you understand further. Just try to look at these figures and different muscle. You can see a deltoid muscle here. You can see a pectoralis muscle here. See how it is getting twisted. So it is coming in a twist form. Okay. Here you can see the fusiform shape of a biceps. Plus you can see the two heads. Okay. Try to understand through the images we more. Well, these are the muscles of lower part of the arm and the total forearm. Altogether, there are 20 muscles in the forearm, 8 on the anterior side and 12 on the posterior side. Most of the muscles, some examples I talked about, like flexor pollicis longus, and flexor pollicis longus is having unipinnate. Wow. So, the fascicula only on one side. You can see the bicipital aponeurosis here is one of the origins of, insertions of biceps brachii. There are two insertion biceps brachii. One is bicipital tendon and one is other is bicipital aponeurosis. So every muscle differs with this or that point. Here you can see some muscles of the face. I was talking about masseter muscle. So masseter muscle is here. It is in cut form. Okay, masseter muscle here. These are some of the facial muscles of expression. You can see the frontalis muscle here. Well, here you can see the muscles of the neck. I was talking about these muscles while explaining you to the what you call fusiform. This is a digastric muscle, and this is hyoid bone. This is thyroid. So thyrohyoid means between thyroid and hyoid strap-like muscle. This muscle is a sternocleidomastoid muscle. Okay, this is a omohyoid muscle. You'll come to those muscles when you study the regional anatomy. Some other day, regional anatomy of different regions of the body. Here you can see muscles of the eyeball. Usually the muscles are present on the outside of the eyeball, or called as extraocular eyeballs. There are 7 of them. Recti means rectus, obliqui means which are oblique, superior rectus, inferior rectus, medial rectus, lateral rectus, and so on. These are the muscles of eyeball. And finally, musculature of the whole body. If you want to see, you can see through this view, front side and back side. And I told you there are 640 muscles, skeletal muscles. So that means you have to study 320. So same on the other side, because they are in pairs. So 320 muscle you have to study. And 320 plus 1 cardiac muscle plus smooth muscle, they are not separate, but you can consider them as a one. So roundly you can say there are 242 muscles in the body. For smooth muscles we call one. Okay, because smooth muscles of different, they cannot be separated and named. And well, I think this is the right time to take a break, because we have finished the study of skeletal muscles, and the remaining part of the skeletal muscle, or this general myology, we will deal with it on coming Tuesday. And let us have a break. And with this break, I will end my today's webinar, episode 2 on general myology. And with this, let us end today's webinar. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And have a